Well, hello and welcome to episode number 4 of the Travel Buzz podcast for June the 24th, 2023. In this episode, we're going to be discussing a review of the Secrets and Dreams Vallarta Bay Resort in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Make sure and visit our sponsors who make this show possible, Big Dreams Travel, at www.bigdreamstravelusa.com. Enjoy the show, everyone. Welcome to episode number 4 of the Travel Buzz podcast. I am your host, John Arthur, and back today once again. We've got a senior agent over at Big Dreams Travel, Lisa Thornton. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, John.
Good to have you back again. I know Lisa being well-traveled over there as an agent. I know this trip we're going to talk about with you today, Lisa, is one you did just for education purposes. And
right.
So that's awesome to hear. You got a lot of great exploring done, but we're talking about the Secrets Resort in Vallarta Bay. And we will get into that in just a minute. As we get started, make sure you subscribe to our channel here on YouTube and click that notification bell. Also, remember to support Big Dreams Travel as they make the show possible. At Big Dreams Travel, their goal is to help your family have the vacation of your dreams while they do all of the work. Their dream designers will work with you from start to finish and help you through all of the important aspects of your vacation, wherever that may take you. You can visit them at www.bigdreamstravelusa.com. So, Lisa, let's get started here on the resort review from you. The resort you stayed at. You stayed at Secrets Vallarta Bay. Now, explain to us a little bit before we get into it. I was making sure I had it straight here before the show, but Secrets, and then there's Dreams Vallarta Bay, which is actually on the same property, sister properties there in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Before we get into the specifics, just kind of give us an overview of those two properties and how they are separated there within the resort.
Okay, so Secrets and Dreams Vallarta Bay, they are right there on the same property. Sometimes when you see, so if you don't know, Secrets is an adult-only property, and Dreams, it's a family property. So a lot of times you'll see that the Dreams and the Secrets, they will share the same properties, and sometimes they don't. This one does sit on the same property together. And it's kind of just one big like horseshoe kind of shape. When you pull up into the entryway, if you go over to your left, you're going to walk into the Secrets lobby. If you go over to your right, you'll walk into the Dreams lobby. And it's separated basically by just like if you go left, everything over the left is adults. If you go right, everything over to the right is for families. Now, if you stay at Secrets, you can use everything over on the Dreams side. So if you wanted to eat at one of their restaurants or sit at one of their pools or enjoy one of their bars, you totally can. You cannot go from Dreams to Secrets. So if you are a family and you're staying at Dreams because you have children, the adults can't go over to Secrets to enjoy the adult-only area. So you can only go from Secrets over to Dreams. But if you ever needed to travel with a large group and you had some who wanted an adult-only property, but some had to stay in the family side, you could definitely, this is the property that would work for both of you guys because the adults could stay over here and then the families with children could stay over here and you could still mingle. They could come over and with you over there and not have to leave the property. So it's really kind of convenient. They're separate pools and the beach areas and restaurants and all of that. So it's really kind of neat how they have it set up there. And it's very convenient if you wanted to cross properties.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to hear because I'm sure as we go through your review, you'll talk about some stuff on each side.
Right.
And want to make sure everybody was clear on how those two were kind of separated. But let's jump into your specific trip here that you took and kind of tell us, obviously, Puerto Vallarta is going to be a little different than maybe a more familiar area would be the Cancun Riviera Maya area coming out of Cancun International Airport. But talk to us a little bit about getting to the resort and the process there in Puerto Vallarta.
I will. So had a great flight. We connected in Dallas and the flight was super fast from Dallas to Puerto Vallarta. Beautiful from the air, lots of mountains. It was just gorgeous. I found myself just staring out the window because there was so much just gorgeous scenery below. But it was real easy through customs. I landed like at 10:30 and I was to the resort by 11:45. So it was a super quick pass through immigration and customs. And I had my private transfer set up with Amstar. And so they were right there outside to meet me, and they took me to my car. They got me some water and got me set up, and we were on our way. It's about, I'd say maybe 15 to 20 minutes from the airport, so it's not a long drive at all. And we got there, and so I was there pretty early, and my room wasn't ready, but I didn't expect it to be. I had packed my swimsuit in my backpack, and so I went over to check in, and they got me all set up and let me know my room wasn't ready yet, but I could enjoy anything on the property that I wanted to. So of course I went and changed, and I headed down to the pool. And so it was a very smooth airport experience. The pickup with my transfer was super quick, and the check-in was a breeze. So it was really nice.
So would you say if there's someone who maybe has been through that Cancun process, we know how crazy,
Yes.
chaotic it can get. You can
Yes.
sometimes have longer waits getting through customs and immigration. So this is certainly maybe, if you're someone who just says, I'm not going through that again in Cancun, this is definitely a smoother process for
Right.
them.
It was. I mean, they do have their little shark area of timeshare sellers.
Mhm.
It's not as long as the Cancun airport, but you can basically, that you've entered the water because, yeah. So you still have to put your blinders on and walk straight through that area, because they're going to tempt you with all kinds of things. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's a much smaller airport, and it was just super easy.
Yeah, walk through that area until you see
Yep.
your transfers that you
Sunlight.
already
Yep.
have set up, and
Right.
don't stop for anything in that area.
Yep.
So that sounds great, and like you mentioned, certainly a much different landscape flying into there than flying into
Yes.
Cancun. As always, I've been both places as well, and yeah, it's definitely a very, very different landscape that you're flying into.
Right.
Of course, Puerto
Crazy.
Vallarta over on the west coast there of Mexico. And so just a little different experience. I think we'll probably get into when we get down to talk about beaches. We may talk about some of the differences in Puerto Vallarta and Cancun, because those are certainly there. But let's talk about, you mentioned check-in was smooth. Tell us a little bit about your room. I know you were on the Secrets side, the adults only side, but tell us a little bit about your room and room type and anything else you've got on that.
Okay, so my room suite was a junior suite ocean view, and most of the rooms there on the Secret side are going to be an ocean view. You're going to have a view of the ocean. I had an incredible view of the resort and the ocean. It was just beautiful. I couldn't have picked a better location, I don't think. But it has one king bed and a little seating area, and a large and lovely bathroom with a big soaking jacuzzi tub and separate rainfall shower area. Really nice large vanity, so there's plenty of room for both of you to get ready. It was a really, really nice room, and the balcony was fantastic. So it was a really great room. They do have some swim ups on the ground floor. They don't have very many, but if you wanted a swim up suite, they do have a few of those on the ground floor. A lot of those are in the preferred club. We did not stay preferred club this time. So the preferred club suites are a little bit closer to the ocean. And I mean, you still have a great view from our area. So it's not like the view's not that much better. But so I was just so pleased with the room I stayed in. It was really, really nice. The beds were super comfortable. I will say that after being there for about a day and a half, I just noticed that my room didn't feel very cool. So I called down and asked someone if they could come up and check my air conditioner. And it wasn't reading the temperature right. So it wasn't me just being a little crazy. And the moment he fixed it, my room got nice and icy cold. So it was wonderful. So they were super prompt, super great to come fix that issue for me. And I got to be really nice and cold the rest. I like to be cold. So I got to stay nice and comfy and cool in my room for the rest of the trip. So
Awesome. And if I remember right, this was about a month ago, but I think you had some videos and things like that over on your Instagram. So if you
yes.
go find Lisa on Instagram, and Lisa, if you know that off the top of your head, tell us. But if you want to tell us later, you can look it up. But yeah, I remember seeing your pictures of your room view, your little video you took, panning across there. Definitely a gorgeous view, and just again different than Cancun, because you can see down the coast, you can see the mountains and those kind of things. It's just
so awesome.
A different view, which is really cool, but beautiful over there in Puerto Vallarta, just the same. So you kind of mentioned a little bit about the rooms and the rooms, the room types that are available. Of course, club level, as Lisa said, is available. If you want to upgrade to that, as most resorts. But tell us a little bit about. You mentioned your service was pretty good when they had to have the air conditioner fixed. But how was the staff at these two, or at this resort? You kind of obviously two parts to it, but how was the staff that you encountered throughout the week and their service?
They were so great. I loved it because, I mean, we were really busy on this trip, out and about touring lots of different properties, but it seems like every time we were back, they recognized us. A couple of them remembered my name. They were just really great. The room service. So I like to order room service. And so the room service staff, they were very friendly. They were very prompt with their delivery of the food. The poolside bar staff who delivered beverages and snacks, they were they were quick, and they were sweet, and they were nice. And I mean, I didn't encounter anyone who wasn't just providing excellent service while I was there. And, sometimes that's not always the case. Somebody might be having a bad day or a little cranky here and there, but I didn't run into any of that while I was at Secrets on this day, and it was great. So
awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear. Secrets and Dreams are part of a group that they have resorts all over the Caribbean and Mexico. And so always good to hear that the service is good, because that not only does that speak to this property, but you can also, draw some conclusions about them and their other resorts if people want to visit other destinations. Let's move on down to the beach a little bit and talk about how the beach time was for you at this resort, and then maybe give us, Lisa. I know you've been obviously both there and to the Yucatan area, and there's obviously going to be some differences in terms of those places, in terms of the beach and those kind of things. So maybe after you tell us kind of about the beach here, tell us about the differences in those areas as well.
So the beach here is, it's a little bit smaller of a beach area as far as shore. The shore is just not very long. It's walkable. So if you wanted to take walks on the beach, you can definitely do that up and down the coast. But from the shore up to like the pool area, it's just not very wide. It is very rocky. So, shoes, like water shoes, would be a good thing to have. I didn't have a lot of beach time on this trip. I went and enjoyed my coffee on the beach one morning, and kind of was able to see the sunrise, even though it was rising behind me. But it was rocky, and the waves are pretty strong. So I wouldn't consider it really a swimmable beach. They do have an area roped off. So if you want to go into the water, you can. But it's the Pacific. The Pacific is pretty mighty. And so it probably isn't the best beach for swimming. And if you are going walking, you would probably want some type of shoe on. But I had fun just looking through all the stones that had come to shore, and they were all so smooth, I guess, from being in the water for who knows how many years. But it's very beautiful. It is probably not a The best pick if you're beach people and you like to be in the water, it's probably not, probably wouldn't be your first choice if that was a major priority for you. I love this property so much, and I am a super beach person. I like to be in the ocean, but I like this property so much that I can definitely see myself going back because I love the pool. I love the resort, the atmosphere. It was so great that I think I can enjoy a trip there, even if I couldn't get in, and enjoy the water I usually can at other places. And they did have like things that you could rent, like they had a parasail that you could rent and go up for a little bit. And they did have some other water activities that you could participate in from some outside vendors. But so a lot of people were enjoying that as well. So a little bit of a rocky beach, a little bit of a rough surf, but it was beautiful in the morning for sure to enjoy your coffee. So, in contrast to the other side over on the Gulf of Mexico, where the sand is very white and the water can be very clear and turquoise, this was not that. The sand is brown or rocky, and the water just kind of varies up and down the region. Some of the water was a darker blue, but some of the beaches that we experienced, they had a lighter blue color. It's just depending on the sediment and the bottom of the ocean on those locations. But some of the beaches up and down the area are swimmable, but this one wasn't. So it was definitely a contrast. And, if you've been to the Riviera Maya and then you go to Puerto Vallarta, it's just important to understand your beach experience is going to be completely different. They don't ever deal with sargassum though. So if you want to go visit, have a vacation and not have to worry about sargassum ruining your beach time, then the West Coast is where you want to be because they don't deal with it. So that's kind of one of their little claims to fame, like, oh, you come here, you won't have to deal with seaweed. So anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely a good highlight there on the differences in the two locations, just because Cancun is obviously and the Riviera Maya are probably a more popular area in general. But there's certainly some benefits to Puerto Vallarta, and depending on what you're wanting out of that all-inclusive resort, as Lisa says, is your trip made or broken based on how much time you get to spend in the water at the beach, and so those are all great things to consider. Of course, the seaweed issue is another one, and that certainly will vary by time of year, and so. Again, this is all great things to think about, and great to see kind of the differences in the West Coast and the East Coast.
Right. And if you go in the right season, you can watch whales right from their property. Probably 3 or 4 staff members would talk to us about, you should see the whales. They're amazing. You don't even have to go on an excursion. You can sit here and watch them during whale season. I think that would be so fabulous. I want to go back just during whale season so I can enjoy that spectacle. They said it's just incredible. So that's another thing that you won't see over in the Riviera Maya are those beautiful whales. So.
Yeah, another great aspect there of the West Coast, and of course, down in Cabo, you get something very similar with the whale watching. So some cool, definitely differences in the two areas. Let's move on up and talk about the pool areas here at the Secrets and the Dreams properties. What do we have in terms of the pools?
So the pools were great. They were really nice size. On the Secret side, they had one main pool. And they had a swim up bar, which was really great. And then they had these smaller, more shallow pools with these built-in loungers. That's probably where I'd spend all my time. It was so perfect. We had a great view of the beach and the ocean and then the palm trees. And it was fantastic. Then they had a hot tub right behind that. And then, of course, they have a preferred club pool, which was back a little bit. That's for the preferred club guests only. They had their own pool and their own hot tub as well. And They were great. They were, there was activity and music, but it wasn't, super crazy. So you could definitely enjoy your time without feeling like you were in a party zone, but it was definitely lively. So I mean, it was a really nice mix of atmosphere. I really enjoyed my time by the pool. And they have a poolside. I know we're going to talk about restaurants, but they have a poolside bar as well as their swim up bar that would bring you beverages as well as some snack food, and you could go serve yourself, or they would go get it for you. And again, afternoon chips and guacamole and pina coladas were pretty much standard for me on this trip. So, great pool area though, really nice. And then over on the Dream side, they had some more activity. Their pools were larger because of it being a family area, and they had some more activities going on over there, like volleyball and things like that you could do in the water. So the pool over on the Dream side was a little bit larger. But it was great. So
Awesome. So it was it's good to hear that you got that the chips and guacamole. I know you guys did a lot of walking at the other
yes,
resorts that you got to tour. And
yes,
so it was good to get back to the pools and
yes, it
enjoy a
was.
little
Yeah.
relaxation.
Yes.
That's great. Let's kind of move over to the activities maybe that they had. I know you were on the
Okay.
adults only side. I would assume that maybe there wasn't quite as many activities over on that side,
Right.
but and I'm sure there are some things that if you're on the adult side, you may want to go to the dream side to experience. So
Yes.
what maybe would they have in those areas?
Like I was saying, they did have some water activities if you wanted to go down to the beach. Some I mean, it was really too rough while we were there to do any of the water activities, but they did have a few aside from the outside vendors who did like the parasailing and things like that. They had different types of classes. They had, the kids club. So the Dream side, they had a really nice kids club, and for activities and things like that for the children that if they wanted to enjoy. We toured that, and it was a really nice area. Some basketball and things like that. They did have some tennis courts, and we asked them about pickleball, as pickleball seems to be growing in popularity like everywhere. They were not familiar with pickleball, and we told the resort manager, it's like, well, you need to get familiar with it because that would be a huge draw, because I'm having more and more clients as the days go on ask about pickleball courts. And so they did have tennis and different things like that. So it was just a really nice combination of different activities and things. So lots for the kids to do, and plenty for the adults to do as well.
Yeah, awesome. What let's move on into the dining. I know
Okay.
you kind of alluded to the pool bar and the
Yes.
little restaurant there already,
Yes.
but maybe take us through what all
Okay.
of the options were
All
here
right.
at these resorts.
Um, I thought the food was really good. I enjoyed pretty much everything I ate. I frequented the Coco Cafe quite a bit. That's the coffee bar. And I mean, I went so many times to get coffee, and I was so happy that I could get as much as I wanted, because one afternoon they had a special iced coffee that was coconut and caramel, and it was incredible. And I went back and had like 3 that afternoon. It was so good. But Coco Cafe, they always have fruit or pastries with iced or hot coffees throughout the day. So it was great. Loved it. I mean, they have, your standard buffet restaurants. We didn't eat in the buffets, but they looked nice. I don't know what the food was like, but they looked pretty. We enjoyed one evening, one of the restaurants called Capers, and it was the Italian restaurant. And this one is, it's more of a formal dining setting. It is a 5-course meal, and it was so good. The main course on this was, well, we got to choose, and I chose lasagna, which was really weird for me since I am Italian, and I'm very picky about my Italian food. But this lasagna was so good. I was so impressed. I told them, I was like, this passes. It's really, really good. We had a really I can't remember the name of the dessert, but it was like a tiramisu. It was really good. They didn't call it tiramisu, but it kind of had that flavor. And one of the other courses was a salad, and then we had a soup. And then we had I think my other part, one of my courses, I don't know what it's called, was shrimp. And it was, I mean, it was just really, really good. So it was kind of a treat to eat there. And it was excellent. It was so good. So they have another one called Bordeaux, and it's kind of in a wine cellar. And so it's more of like a French restaurant, but very popular. And the menu looked like it would be very, very delicious. Then they do have a Mediterranean restaurant. I didn't have time to eat there, but the menu looked really good. And they have a sushi place. But one of the other places I ate there for breakfast the morning I left, and then we had dinner there one night right on the water. It's called Oceana. And it was delicious. We had steak that night, and actually it was a filet. It was so good. And I'm kind of weird. People make fun of me, but I like my steak really well done. And my husband gets embarrassed. He's like, please don't ask a chef to cook your meat well done. But I can't help it. I do. And you know what? I was afraid that they were going to send it to me and it was not going to be well done. And I kind of felt weird asking them in Mexico to cook my filet well done. But you know what? They did. And it was so good. And I was so happy. It was delicious. And we ate facing the ocean right at sunset. I took some amazing pictures. It was just really perfect. So I would definitely recommend a meal at Oceana. Very, very good. And then, like I said, I had a really nice breakfast there the day before, or the day I left before I headed to the airport. So, you know, sometimes food at the Secrets and the Dreams properties can be kind of hit or miss, but this one was excellent. I was really, really pleased with its food.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And you're right. That's one of the things that can really vary among resorts at times, is the quality of their food. And so that's good to hear on this one, because that's a very important part for people. If you're booking an all-inclusive stay, you certainly want to, that's part of the enjoyment is making sure you enjoy the food. So that's all great to hear. Any entertainment offerings to note at this property? I know that is a little more of a thing probably in the Cancun area, but anything over there? Anything to note?
They just have live music going on every night. And it was so nice because the lobbies are open air. So you could get a drink and have a seat in the lobby. There was lots of seating, couches and chairs and tables. But they had live music going on kind of right in the center. So if you were hanging out in the Dreams lobby, or if you were hanging out in the Secrets lobby, you could enjoy it. And it was really nice. And I will say, off property, if you like to venture off property, just about a 5-minute drive, just grab a taxi. The concierge can help you grab a taxi. Is the Malecon district. And it's just like a little shopping area. So about 10 o'clock one night, 5 of us piled in a cab and we went to check it out. And it was just great. It was great culture. It was great fun. And, but you can enjoy that area in the day or the night. And it's a super cheap cab ride, I'd say like 5 minutes. And, it was funny because one of our cab drivers on the way back, he was from the same town in Minnesota that one of our friends was. So it was kind of funny. And he had moved to Mexico like 20 years ago. So it was just kind of cool. So that's a great, fun place to go and just experience some off-property. entertainment. It was just great. We just walked up and down the streets and lots of vendors and things like that. So, and that's super close to the resort. So,
All right. So it's good to hear you went to the shopping area. I remember when I was down in Puerto Vallarta, it just that area feels a little more authentic
yeah,
Mexico in some
right.
ways than you get sometimes
Mhm.
over in Cancun in that area.
Right.
It's just a little more of that authentic feel as opposed to
Right.
the Cancun has been Americanized just a little bit
For sure.
with all of the tourists and those types of
Right.
things. So that's good to hear. One area that I've kind of started questioning are people about when we talk about resorts is the accessibility of the resort, just because
Mhm.
um, obviously they don't have the same ADA
Right.
requirements and those kind of things in Mexico that we have here in the States.
Mhm.
Anything to note there in terms of number of stairs, elevator space, how easy it is to get around at that resort?
Um, it's pretty accessible. We definitely did visit some that were not very accessible for those with mobility issues, but this one, pretty much you had your elevators and they would accommodate a wheelchair or a scooter. And on your pool deck areas, there were no stairs other than your stairs down to the beach. So, and I don't know, I didn't look to see if there was a ramp available or if they could accommodate that. But as far as just getting around in that area, there were no additional steps. So, and I don't remember what the dream side was like just because I didn't spend as much time over there. But from over on the secret side, um, I didn't notice any additional sets of stairs
Okay.
or there are no hills or anything like that. So other
Good,
than going
good.
down to the beach from the pool area, I think that would be the main thing. And like I said, I don't remember if they had a ramp or not, but we could always find that
Okay.
out.
Good. Yeah, good to hear those elevators had plenty of space and
Yes,
everybody can access those areas. That's always something to consider if that's
right.
a need for someone.
Yes.
Anything else on this resort? I think we've covered about everything
Yeah,
on the normal list. What else? Anything else?
I,
Is this a place? Go ahead. Anything else?
no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, is this a place you would recommend to those people you're helping plan trips if obviously they would want to fit
Right.
the differences in Puerto Vallarta and Cancun
Absolutely.
and know the limitations of the beach and those kind of things. But is
Yep.
this a place you would feel comfortable sending people?
Absolutely. I really enjoyed it. I was super pleased. And like I said earlier, I would even, consider a stay again, even though I like being in the ocean. And um, I was so pleased. I really, really enjoyed it. I loved its location. I loved the scenery. We're just in a really nice part of the city. And I was going to say, I know this is not necessarily resort um, um, related, but we went on an excursion that if you are ever in the Puerto Vallarta area, it was called Rhythm of the Night. And it was so much fun. We went out one night, we took a catamaran across the bay. So it was about a 30 to 45-minute catamaran ride. So it was significantly long. But we took a catamaran across the bay. And it was kind of like, you had just pulled up on a deserted island. There were lots of tiki torches, and they had a dinner buffet set up for everybody. And we enjoyed a really nice meal and beverages and things like that. And then they ushered everyone up into the amphitheater, where we enjoyed this incredible acrobatic and singing. It was almost like Cirque du Soleil in the jungles of Mexico. It was so entertaining. It was so much fun. The benches were terribly uncomfortable, but the show was fantastic. The actors and the acrobats were incredible, and it kind of took you through some different stages and parts of Mexico and their heritage and the culture. It was just really, really fun. And then on the way back, the catamaran turned into quite the lively party boat, and music was going, people were dancing. It was so fun. So if you're ever in that area, the Rhythm of the Night excursion, I would highly recommend it. It was just fantastic. So
awesome. That's great. And if you're watching the show on YouTube, I'll find the link of that and put it down in the notes below. But it's always good to have some things like that, excursion wise, offsite. Not one of those things you would do every day, but certainly nice to have an option.
It was nice.
To do once or twice on your trip. So, well, Lisa, thanks for visiting with us today about secrets there in Vallarta Bay. Always great to have you on, and we will again in the future. And thanks for being here, and thanks everyone for listening. That'll do it for today.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Travel Buzz Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you check out all of our shows each week, either on YouTube at Big Dreams Travel or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, we would love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you click the notification bell so that you know when we post new episodes or videos. I'm John Arthur. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful week and have fun planning those future dream vacations.